So here we have the farm I bought. I paid $462,000 for this 53-acre property. There's some in pasture. You got like this bottom ground that's in beans right now. And I want to show you how I'm basically going to get this property for free. So basically what we have is the opportunity, since we have all these woods, you see all the woods here and that, and it's buildable and it's in a good school district, I'm able to subdivide off two 12-acre lots. And by subdividing them off, I'm able to sell them at about $220, maybe to $230. And so when you figure that in, that's going to be about $460 for the total value. And I only paid $462. So that gets me down to where I only owe about $20,000 on this property. And I know that's not free, but the other value I had was I bought the beans off the field. So when I pick these soybeans, these are now mine. Of the 25 acres that are planted in soybeans, I will get another about $14,000. So that'll help me pay that down even more. By the time it's all done, I'll have about 30 acres of the 53 that I will own. And I may only be out of pocket maybe $1,000, $2,000 by the time this whole deal is done. So if you do the math on that, basically, I'm only going to pay 50 to 60, maybe 70 bucks an acre for tillable farmland. And as a small farmer, the more I do that, the more I can increase my portfolio of land to make more money. And see, as a small farmer, you know, we struggle. We can't get the big money like the big farmers. We don't have the wherewithal to buy big chunks of land for millions of dollars. But these little pieces like this are gold mine for a little farmer. Now we're going to go through some of the ways I'm going to recoup my money on this, so then show you what I did to get all that back to pay for the property. So these guys here, these are soybeans. And what happens to these plants is they will get about 18 inches, 2 foot tall, just depends on our weather. They have nodes, and that's what these little things are. These are nodes, and they will produce pods on them, just like you see like a green bean. But their pods will be short and they'll have 3 or 4 beans in them. We don't feed these to animals as much as we feed them to humans. They go into soy meal. China buys a lot of them to make protein. They have a lot of protein in them, so they're a good substitute for protein. We use them in the United States for tofu and some other products. Why do we plant soybeans? Well, in farming we have to have a rotation, because if we just did corn on corn on corn, we would decimate this ground of all the nutrients. And soybeans give the ground a year to relax because they don't need nitrogen. They actually produce nitrogen. This gives the ground a break, and then when we put corn the next year, it actually helps the corn in the same sense because they've left some nitrogen behind. We're not mining the ground every year, because corn on corn is very hard on ground. If you're going to do that, you got to use a lot of chemicals. Just like having the rotation is also a very good thing, because it helps us maintain the soil structure and the fertility of the soil, which is very important, because if you ruin the fertility of this, it's no longer worth anything to anyone. Short term, for the first year, I'm going to recoup a bunch of the money, and then I'm also going to recoup it each year, because if I only paid like 70 bucks an acre for this ground, you know, or after the first year, that's all I'm out is $2-3 grand. The next year when I produce corn, you know, and I get that $12,000-$15,000 profit, obviously it's paid off. That's why this is such a win-win. I really am not out nothing. So why don't we go up here? I want to show you these lots and kind of show you some stuff that can make you some more money in the trees and that. That's a value add that a lot of people don't realize. They see all these trees around here and don't realize there's money to be made, and you can be a good steward of land by even planting trees when you buy it, because you can make money in the long run that way too. How do I make money in trees? Well, we're going to talk about walnut trees. Now, a walnut tree that's grown for 30 years could have a value of 10 grand. People always think they have more time, and people always forget that time compounds. So when you're looking at these things, you got to remember, when you're young, you have a lot of ability to make a lot of money. But when you're young, you've got to make really good decisions. Don't buy the car payment. Don't get the girl pregnant right away. Don't buy the house. You know, have your debt situated, and you could do something like this. It's very possible for everybody. I did this kind of stuff in college, you know, and I lived like a king, collecting rent, living in a fraternity house. But that's what my parents taught me. They didn't teach me to go work for a 9-to-5 every day. They taught me to work for myself. This is what can really add value. This is a walnut tree, and as you can tell by its herringbone pattern. And the reason this is so valuable is because this wood, it's a hardwood, and it's very desirable for furniture and that. So like this tree isn't as popular because it's not, this is too small. At eye height, you want a tree to be about 14 inches in diameter or bigger for them to log it. So some of these trees they took out of here were probably 20, 24 inches. So those trees probably went for $4 and $5 grand a piece. And the reason they do is because they cut them in 8-foot sections. So when a tree is real tall like this, you might have 3 or 4 logs in a tree, and that's what gets you your value. Now what's going to happen with this farm is we're going to let these grow, and they will actually add value, because in 10 years this will be another 8 inches bigger. And that'll change its price level a lot in 10 years. I'm gonna take you up to the top part. I'm gonna show you another value add, another thing you can make money off on these properties. And mainly it's right here in the background. I don't want to give it away, but it's tall and green. We're gonna go up here to the pasture area where the two lots are gonna be, and I'll show you where they kind of divide out. Because this is what pays off the property right here. All right, let's bring this up here. This is it. This is the top ground. Now this ground rolls quite a bit, but basically there'll be two lots up here, and each lot's going to be about 11 to 12 acres. So this is a very prime real estate neighborhood, country area, and people really look for those 12-acre lots where they're buildable, and they have woods, and they have water connected, which just has a creek in the back, and you can have horses. You can have animals out here because it's zoned ag. So, and the school district's really good too, which is awesome. And that's what you want to look for. And so that's what makes this so desirable. So this is lot 2, and this is the top half of it next to the county road, the blacktop road, which helps make it so valuable. The other way I'm going to recoup my money besides the crops that you saw is I'm going to sell off this unusable land to me. This basically 12 acre lot here, and there's another 12 acres. So about 24 acres of the 53, I'm going to sell off. And I'm hoping, which I'm pretty sure I will do pretty well, between $220,000 and $230,000 for each lot. So if you're doing your math, kids, that basically means that I'm going to get to that $460 amount. I paid $462. So I'm almost pretty much completely out of this, minus some realtor fees and some closing costs. But that's what this is. This is why I bought it, because I knew that I could keep what I wanted and have these people that are going to buy these lots for their dream homes pay for me to own farmland. Now the really funny deal about this property, I bought this off the Catholic Church. And I asked the realtor a funny question. I said, so am I negotiating with God or the Pope? And he started to laugh, and he said, no, you're not. And he said, why are you concerned about that? I said, well, I just don't want to meet St. Peter one day and have him thumb through his book and go, Keenan, remember when you got one over on us? I might end up in Hades or something, you know, or purgatory extra long. But it's kind of funny when you think about it. Theoretically, when I'm buying this, I'm negotiating with God. That's pretty damn cool in my history book. That is a trade up. This is a flip and a trade up and a way to get free property. I want to pass it along. Thanks for watching. Follow along for more.